one of the recognized man-eaters of the Australian coastline. We're to meet him underwater, along with others of his kind. Our destination, Saumarez Reef, 230 miles east of Australia, in the middle of the Coral Sea. The expedition started here at YEPPOON, Queensland. When we arrived at Ross Creek, it was low tide. In fact, it was very low tide. Two of our crew, John Harding and, loading his gear, Ron Zangari. Crewman number 3, topskin diver, Bob Grounds. All the gear is checked and double-checked. Mistakes could prove fatal. Our transport was the fishing vessel, Riversong. The journey to Saumarez Reef had a single purpose, to survey the professional fishing potential, both above water and below. Our skipper was Wally Mueller, a professional fisherman. A gannet joins us. Our first stop will be Gannet Cay, and there it is, dead ahead. This is one of the few coral cays on the Swain Reefs. It will only be a brief stopover. Our destination is Saumarez Reef. The inhabitants give us a noisy welcome. Standing no more than 6 feet above water, Gannet Cay is about 150 yards long by 50 yards wide. An American oil survey team spent many lonely months on this remote outpost. Hardly the place for a vacation. When the Americans left, they left all their heavy gear here. A lonely place, even if this discarded fridge had been stocked with refreshments. Wally received permission from the owners to take what food he needed. Months earlier, he'd shipped it here under charter, and he knows exactly what's still edible. John films a nesting gannet, from which the cay gets its name. The nest is simplicity itself, merely a small hole scratched in the ground. She doesn't like this intrusion on her privacy and proceeds to voice her opinion of our party in no uncertain manner. Now, when this fails to move us, she feigns the broken wing, trying to lure us away. Hardly an ocean beauty, but before long, he'll look just like his elder relative, and he'll be ready to face life on his own. Here's a rare black and white gannet with baby. Mother love is strong, and she proceeds to defend herself, even though we mean her no harm. Baby gets a rough ride. As the sun rises higher, we're away. It's imperative that we arrive at Saumarez during the daylight hours. Treacherous surf makes anchoring a problem, and should a strong northerly wind be blowing, we won't be able to stop at all, and our long trip will be for nothing. A happy atmosphere prevails. We'll be the first people to skin dive in the tropical waters of Saumarez. Well, it shouldn't be long now. So Wally dons his lucky fishing cap and then proceeds to climb the rigging to the lookout. Saumarez Reef is completely submerged. Only the breaking surf marks this hazardous chain of reefs. There she is, dead ahead, Saumarez. And Ron Zangari, one of Queensland's top spearfishermen, gets his first look. Even in the best of weather, these white-capped breakers are a navigational hazard and are carefully avoided. One mistake and jagged coral awaits the unwary. Well, there's no northerly wind today, so we'll anchor near a long-forgotten victim of Saumarez Reef. It should be an enjoyable task to survey this untouched area. If we can find plenty of good quality market fish, Wally will return to fish the area commercially. With the anchor down, our team dons their rubbers and prepares to make a preliminary check of the outer reef. At first glance, we discover that underwater life is scarce. An untouched reef should have a lot more fish than this. We wonder why. And here's what Wally dreams about: the giant coral trout, 40 pounds of great eating. Bob Grounds executes the perfect shot. Coral trout bring a high price on the Australian fish market. Let's hope he's not the only one in the area. A good catch of beauties like him would make the trip well worthwhile. But now trying to get the spear out is another problem. Bob has to put his razor-sharp knife to work to remove the deadly embedded barb. Check and make sure it's straight. Here's another coral trout. Later on, Wally will try his luck with a hand line. Skin diving will find out where they're congregated. Here's a submarine reptile, the deadly sea snake. He breathes air the same as his relative, the turtle. These snakes have a venom 10 times deadlier than the cobra. Nearby, a black sea snake, a type that we hadn't seen before, so we'll give him a wide berth. Silver drummer, common the world over and not the best to eat. John searches in caves for the tasty coral trout. Suddenly, as if from out of nowhere, they're coming from every direction. Being so fascinated, we hadn't realized that it was so late in the afternoon. It's not wise to be in the waters at this hour, so it's back to Riversong for the night. Next morning, Captain Wally scrapes a whisker. We're going visiting. And besides, a beard stubble will cause a face mask to leak. Fishing is forgotten for a couple of hours today. So, it's into the dory and away. We're about to inspect the wreck of the Francis Preston Blair, an American Liberty ship, grounded near the end of World War II. She's now a ghost ship. An explosion hole in the bow, said to have been caused by a Japanese torpedo, allows us to enter. At the stern, a large bronze propeller, valuable from a salvage point of view. Run enters through another explosion hole. The badly rusted hulk is dangerous now, so we tread warily. We're a long way from the Australian coastline. The Australian Armed Forces use her now for target practice. Actually, the wreck is owned by the Australian Air Force, a grim reminder of how close the war came to Australian shores. A magazine still full of explosive cannon shells. An Air Force practice bomb did this. Rumor has it that the captain ran her aground after receiving 2 torpedo hits, and in an effort to save his ship and to try and give her another fighting chance, he ran her onto Saumarez Reef. Up on the top, Wally tests the deck to see if it's solid enough to support our weight. In parts, the deck is rusted right through. A rusted stern gun, another grim reminder of the recent Pacific conflict. From the evidence, we found that the Francis Preston Blair was a true fighting ship. She must have been driven quite fast up onto Saumarez Reef. An empty deck magazine. If you want to learn to work the big gun, it's all here. Runs and Gary swats up just in case. US helmets, long since used in combat, are worn by the visitors. Well, the sun is dropping, and we want to inspect more of Saumarez Reef from underwater, so we leave the wreck. The reef itself looks calm enough at the moment. A school of coral trout seen from the wreck. They look small in the crystal clear water from this height, but the average size is 20 pounds. It's back to the fishing survey and on with the diving gear. Over we go into the warm tropical waters. Another sea snake, an inquisitive creature with a deadly potential. Luckily, they're not inclined to attack normally. Our skipper, Wally, has had a lot of experience with these fellows. Just to demonstrate, he grabs this reptile by the tail. Still, I wouldn't annoy him if I were Wally. One bite, and he'd be dead in 60 seconds. He spots our cameraman, Ron, and he heads straight for the lens. His head, and notice that forked tongue, passes within inches of Ron's hands. Luckily, he's not in an attacking mood. He passes our camera. Notice his flat tail. These fellows can really move when they want to. Bob has speared a nice-sized trevally. Now this fish is great catching, great eating too, and has a strong flavored flesh. We'll have him for supper. Spider shells are plentiful, as no skin divers have been here before. Still at it, Bob bags a beautiful 60-pound dog-tooth tuna with a perfect paralyzing shot in the middle of the head. Don't leave him in the water, Bob. Get him into the boat. Nice catch. John has found a rare helmet shell, a beautiful specimen, which unfortunately failed to survive the rough trip home. It's getting late and feeding time has arrived. You know what that means. We've decided for once to eat out of the water. Next morning, Wally is dory fishing. He's challenged our spear fishermen to a contest, 1 against 3, to see who can bring back the greatest weight of fish in only 3 hours. John is rudely awakened from his bedroom. There wasn't enough sleeping space down below, so our youngest member slept under the stars. What time is it? Wally's away and looking every bit the professional fisherman. On the Riversong, a few minutes must be taken to straighten a couple of bent spears. However, the boys don't want to give Wally too much of a start, even if they are confident of victory. Meanwhile, Wally cruises around the reef edge, trailing a spinner and using garfish bait. All set now, our 3 underwater warriors are away. This coral trout looks like being victim number 1 for the wetsuit boys. Bingo! Now, a small dog-tooth tuna falls victim to the spear gun. He looks small, but he weighs 15 pounds. Meanwhile, Wally snags them fast and furious. On goes a garfish. The boys note Wally's boat cruising over them, cruising around at about 5 knots. Coral trout are the prize catch. A stunning blow makes Wall's work a lot easier. It's necessary to bleed them for best eating. Round and around he goes. A choice table fish, and there's plenty of fight in him. Not bad for a couple of hours' work. A watchful glance at the reef, just in case. That's a job fish, and once again, the throat is cut. Then, Wal keeps them cool and fresh with his improvised bucket system. Dog-toothed tuna are common out here at Saumarez. Here's a nice one. Once the wood comes to work. Not enough yet. Those fellows might get lucky. A big strike. It feels like another tuna. He's not all that big, but he's a good fighter. Wally's caught them up to 6 feet long and weighing 150 pounds. Although this fella, not a big one, but he tips the scale at around about 35 pounds. These fish are really built for speed. The time is up. The contest is over. Our 3-man team returns with just over 200 pounds of good quality fish and more than confident of an easy victory. Onto the deck they go. Later on, they'll be filleted and stored away in our freezer. The single fisherman motors in. Even though it was 1 against 3, Wally's total amounted to just over 500 pounds, proving his point that a single professional line fisherman is far superior to spear fishermen in untouched waters. Every shape, every size, and every species, and all good eating. Now, the real work begins. All the catch, 800 pounds in all, must be filleted and packed away. That box, just forward of the wheelhouse, is a 4,000-pound capacity icebox. We hope to fill it by the time we leave. Let's hope the weather holds. The unwanted carcasses are returned to the sea, and only the pure fish fillet is retained. There's the first sign of trouble. A freshening northerly wind has arisen. We must leave Saumarez in a hurry or risk being pounded to pieces on the reef. Now, more trouble. The anchor is snagged. Despite the strong motor, it refuses to budge. The position is not a healthy one. Someone will have to go down there and free it, and in a hurry. Bob is elected. A quick change into his suit, and over he goes. Straight down the anchor chain he goes, and there he meets a spine-chilling sight. Sharks, dozens of them. One sees Bob and heads straight for him. 150-pound humped-headed Mary wrasse, an inquisitive fish, wonders what all the noise is about. There's no mistaking that streamline striped beauty, a proven man-eater, the tiger shark. The anchor is free, so let's get out of here in a hurry. With conditions worsening, we finally get away, and we head for the safe anchorage of Swain Reef. One of these days, Wally will return to fish Saumarez with hand line. But one thing's for sure, Wally won't be skin diving at Saumarez Reef.